If you're getting started with Midjourney version 6 and you're looking for a complete step-by-step guide on all the amazing features and tools, or if you just need a refresher on AI image generation, you're watching the right video. We'll cover everything from generating basic photos, expanding your canvas, the inpainting and remixing features to get the perfect images, and all the other cool new features that have been added to version 6 so far, like using a consistent style. By the end of this video, you'll be comfortable with all the tools available in Midjourney. This is going to be a long tutorial, so make sure to check below for timestamps. The first thing we have to do is sign up for a Midjourney subscription. To do so, we actually need a Discord account. Sign up for an account and make sure you verify your email address. Once you're done with that, log into Discord and head over to midjourney.com. Use the sign in button on the bottom right, which should automatically ask you to link your Discord account. Once you've logged in, you'll see the Explore page where it'll show a bunch of other images from other people. We'll come back to the website later. For now, we need to sign up for a subscription. Go down to the account settings in the bottom left, which is the person icon. From there, scroll to the Manage Subscription option. Now, I already have a plan set up, but you'll be able to pick one here if you're just starting. I use a standard plan personally, but the basic plan is perfect for beginners and is more than enough to get you started. Once you've signed up, open Discord and you should be able to see the Midjourney server inside Discord on the left. That looks like a ship icon. If you can't see it, I'll post an invite link in the description of the video to the Discord channel server. There's a lot of info in the Midjourney server about how to get started, the latest announcements, prompt tips, things like that. But right now, we need to start prompting. To access the private Midjourney bot where we'll be generating our images, click on this Show Member List button in the top right, which looks like an icon with two people in it. Then scroll to the Midjourney bot on the list, right-click on it, and in the pop-up menu, select Message. And a private message with Midjourney will open up for you. We're all set up now, so let's start generating AI images. Inside the direct message with the Midjourney bot at the bottom, we'll enter a description of what we want the AI to generate. This is called prompting. Type /imagine, which is the command to enter a prompt, and press space. Inside the prompt box, let's go with photo of a woman in Cairo. Midjourney automatically generates a grid of 4 different images based on your prompt. Usually this goes by pretty quickly in less than 30 seconds or so. These images will be randomly generated each time. Once it's done, we can zoom in on the image grid by clicking on it. If you're happy with them, you can open up the Midjourney website and head over to the My Images folder. From there, just select the image you like and use the download button to save it to your computer. We can alternate between different image mediums and styles. I prompted for a photo here, but you can try asking for a watercolor painting, impressionist oil painting, digital art, or try cartoons. For your prompt, start basic and slowly adding more and more details. We'll give her a motorcycle so she doesn't have to walk. Now let's add some more fine-grained details like colors. Make the motorcycle a black Harley bike. She'll need the clothing to match, so let's dress her with a brown leather jacket and blue jeans. I forgot to give her a helmet. Since we're responsible, let's throw that in there too. If you want to take a deeper dive into the specifics of prompting, I'll link my Midjourney version 6 prompt guide in the description of this video and also at the end. For this particular image though, let's also try generating her in an anime art style drawn with Copic markers and see what it looks like. These images are pretty good and do capture the essence of anime, but Midjourney actually has released a special model specifically designed for anime style images. You can access them by using the settings menu. So go down to the direct message, type /settings inside and press enter. The settings menu will pop up. Inside the models drop-down, we can see all the new and old models together. Currently, I have the newest version 6 selected, which is the one I suggest you use for the most part. But we can also try the Niji model version 6 if we specifically want anime or cartoon-inspired images. With that selected, let's prompt for the woman in Cairo again, this time specifically prompting for anime art styles. A few basic ones to try might be the shonen art style for anime targeted towards teens, or the cuter chibi style. Just like the normal Midjourney models, Niji images does sometimes struggle with hands a bit. Different themes and styles are effectively generated though, like a detective robot or this pencil drawing of a boy devil. It's not just limited to anime art style either. The Niji models also work great for Western comic art and cartoon illustrations in general. I really enjoy landscapes generated using the Niji style. Let's switch back to the normal version 6 model and walk through some of these other settings. The Stylize setting, which goes from low to medium, high, and very high, controls how much Midjourney injects its own style and creativity into your images. The low Stylize setting gives a more direct image based on your prompt, and a higher Stylize setting will add a lot of extra style and flair to the image. We'll enter a prompt asking for a robot in the style of the Victorian English era. It should be serving lunch and have pastel colors on it, and the exterior of the robot has a texture of polished concrete. Let's compare what happens when we increase the Stylize parameter from low all the way up to very high. At a low Stylize value, the image is fairly straightforward. It's not as decorative and even looks kind of bland, but it does follow the prompt correctly. As the Stylize value increases, we can see Midjourney's influence more. It starts adding in accessories and decorations. The background goes from a small living room to a grand hallway in a palace. The raw mode option offers the most direct interpretation of Midjourney's prompt without adding in extra flair. It's similar to using a low Stylize value in that it won't add Midjourney style to the image. In Midjourney version 6, the prompt understanding is already really good though, so the raw mode is not as important as it used to be in previous models. A really nice new quality of life update in Midjourney version 6 is the ability to generate text. It's easy to add text into your prompts, just put the words you want printed in quotation marks, like I did here. I asked for a floral design with red roses and green vines against a white background. Then the words happy birthday in quotation marks written in cursive in gold. You'll notice that not all of the images generated the text correctly, but for common phrases like happy birthday, it usually does a pretty good job with it. Let's try designing a product. We'll use a tall aluminum can of juice with the white text fresh, vertically printed. I'll go with sans serif font this time. The can should also have a blue label. I like how clean the text looks in these images, and it prints the word fresh very clearly. You can also try putting the text in different mediums like carved on a gravestone or painted in with watercolor. If you try longer sentences or more complicated phrases, it doesn't work as well though. Here I prompted for the tongue twister, she sells seashells by the seashore. It gets some parts of the sentence correct, but it's not quite there yet. To generate the best possible images, you'll need to use custom parameters. Parameters tailor Midjourney specifically to fit your needs. Remember these Stylize buttons? You don't have to pull up the settings menu every time you want to access these. To take a shortcut, just type --s after your prompts, followed by a number between 0 to 1000. The two dashes tell Midjourney you're using a parameter, and S is a parameter code for Stylize. After that is a parameter value. In this case, that's a number between 0 to 1000, where 0 is no stylization and 1000 is a maximum amount of stylization. Let's compare images generated with different amounts of stylization. The lower values have more plain images, without too many special effects. As we increase the stylization value though, the images get more artistic, with lights and sparkles. The most common parameter you'll use is the aspect ratio, which is the proportional relationship between the width and height of the image. The default aspect ratio is 1:1, but we can change that to other popular ones like the vertical 9:16 or horizontal 16:9. Here's our initial prompt of a dolphin made out of transparent glass floating in the sky. To change the aspect ratio to a wide full-screen image, type --AR followed by 16:9. We can also combine multiple different parameters. I want a highly stylized image, so I'll add --S 700 after the aspect ratio. Now, when we run the AI, we'll get a wide 16:9 image, but it'll also be pretty stylized. There's a ton of other parameters that we can use. The no parameter is a negative prompt and tells Midjourney what you do not want to be in the image. For example, let's prompt for a video of California poppies in this field outdoors. These are pretty photos, but what if I don't want the sky to be in the background and I only want to see the flowers and grass? In that case, I would add --no with the word sky afterwards to tell Midjourney to not generate the sky in my images. And we'll get photos with only flowers and grass in them. The chaos parameter tells Midjourney how much variation you want in your image generations. It's a value between 0 to 100. 0 is a default value, and 100 generates the most unusual and unexpected results. Let's try generating this girl in a field of orange flowers with teal tattoos and necklaces, starting with a chaos value of 0. The images all look pretty similar to each other and follow the prompt I used pretty closely. Bump the chaos up to 50 and there's a lot more diversity and variation in the images that we generate, from the different camera angles to facial markings and their ethnicities, but the images still follow our prompt pretty well. Using the maximum chaos of 100 though, and we get a huge amount of variation. The images no longer follow our prompt accurately and the resulting images are definitely unexpected. If you want a lot of prompt control, I'd stick with a default chaos value of 0, but if you want to explore what's in Midjourney's visual library, you can try using a higher value. The weird parameter does something similar to chaos. Setting it to 0 will generate standard images, but increasing the value all the way up to 100, and you'll get some quirky and unique results. When you're prompting, you might want to make minor adjustments to specific words or items in your prompt. It can be annoying to type the prompt multiple times, just to change a few words. For example, let's say we have this prompt, a cute anime style inspired watercolor painting of a baby blue dragon, happy and smiling. What if we wanted to test out different colors like red, green, and yellow though? The Permutations feature lets you easily iterate through multiple different prompts. Just put the colors inside curly brackets like I've done here. And then when you go to enter your prompt in Midjourney, check yes so Midjourney asks you to confirm processing for multiple different jobs. The 4 different colors we asked for will be generated separately. Permutations can also be applied to parameters, like the aspect ratio or anything else. To get more advanced, we can apply permutations multiple times in our prompt. For example, this prompt of impressionist oil painting of a red or blue cat or dog, which will generate 4 separate paintings mixing and matching between red, blue, and cat and dog. If there's a set of parameters you really like, you can save them using the Prefer Option Set feature. I've got a set of parameters here, --Niji 6, --AR 9 to 16, --Stylize 500. Niji tells Midjourney I want to use a specific anime Niji model. I don't want to have to enter these parameters in the Midjourney every time for every prompt. So instead, I'll type /Prefer Option Set, press space, and then inside option, enter the name for my parameter set, which will be vertical Niji. Select the +1 more button, and select value from the pop-up menu. Inside, I'll put in my parameters, --Niji 6, --AR 9 to 16, --S 500. Now, when I enter this prompt, Midjourney saves those settings to the keyword vertical Niji. Let's try generating a new prompt, a yellow fox spirit that's made out of yellow dandelions. There are many flower petals on the fox's skin. Then add --vertical Niji instead of the set of parameters. Notice that after we enter this prompt, Midjourney automatically adds our saved parameters into the prompt line. And it'll generate a vertical image of a very stylized fox spirit in anime style. I've covered the main parameters you want to know. If you want to check out the full parameters list, I'll put a link in the description. So far, we've learned a lot about prompting and parameters, which are the fundamentals of Midjourney. Let's get into some of the other cool features we can use. Underneath the image grid is a set of buttons labeled U and V. These correspond to each of the 4 images in the grid. If we click on the U button, it opens up the corresponding image and gives you a variety of different options for customization. Starting with the upscaler, which doubles the resolution of an image. Currently, there's 2 upscale options called Subtle and Creative. Subtle increases the resolution while preserving the general structure and details. And Creative will upscale the image but adding new details. Here's an image of 2 women jogging. Let's compare using the Subtle upscale and Creative upscale. For the Subtle upscaled image on the right, the resolution is increased and you see some additional sharpness to the image, but the overall structure stays the same. By the way, when generating faces with full body shot, Midjourney struggles a bit if the face is just a very small part of the entire image. Now, if we switch over to the Creative upscaled image, the facial structure has changed. The person's expression is different now, but it's quite a bit sharper and looks slightly more realistic than before. Also, to save this image, we can just right-click on it and scroll down to Save Image. Next up are these Vary buttons for if you like the general structure of the image, but want to see what it looks like if you add a little bit more randomness and variation to it. Vary Subtle produces a new image grid consisting of variations of the original image. The variations are automatically added in by Midjourney and are usually fairly minor. The colors and structure of the original image get preserved and only small details are changed, like the shape of the eyes of our dog painting. Very Strong will produce more diverse variations of our original image. While the colors and subject matter are largely preserved, the direction the head is pointing and the way the ears flop around its head look different. I do use these variations pretty frequently. It's a good idea to use them if the image is already pretty close to what you want, and instead of generating a new image completely from scratch, you can just do these variations to see what else you can get. You can also access these variation options from the initial image grid with these numbered V buttons. Just click on one of them and Midjourney directly creates variations of the corresponding image for you. You can control whether they're small or strong variations, so open up the settings menu and then check whether you want a high variation or low variation mode. Also, there's the reroll button, which looks like the 2 arrows chasing each other. It runs Midjourney again on the same prompt to generate a new set of images. If your initial image grid doesn't match exactly what you want but is pretty close, I'd recommend re-rolling a couple of times before changing up the prompt, since Midjourney does have some randomness in its generation. The Vary Region button is a special feature that lets you do image inpainting to make adjustments to very specific parts of the image. Let's try a demo. Take this image of a floating dolphin. I'll use a square region selection tool and select a small part of the image to adjust. I'll want to add in a priest watching the dolphin in the area where I've selected the square. So inside the prompt box, I'll add in an ancient Egyptian priest looking upwards, shot from behind. And then if we enter this prompt, we'll get an updated version of the image with our Egyptian priest. Now, this tool is especially powerful for when Midjourney misinterprets your prompt. In this image, I tried to generate a young woman swimming next to a dolphin. Specifically, I asked for a gold crown to be on the dolphin's head. But as you can see, Midjourney gets confused and generates the crown on the woman's head instead. I really like the layout of this image though, and don't want to change it. I just need to move the crown from the girl onto the dolphin. Let's fix that using the Vary Region feature. We'll open up the Vary Region tool, and this time I'll use the lasso selection tool. This gives you a little more flexibility in the region that you're going to be selecting. I'll drag it around the crown on the girl's head. And then inside the prompt box, I'll change it to a young Indian woman to remove the crown. By the way, if you mess up with the region you selected and want to restart, just right-click on the selected region to start over. The images have finished generating, and we can see that the gold crown has been removed from the girl. Open up the new image with the Vary Region editor. I'm going to drag the lasso selection tool around the dolphin's head where I want a gold crown to be placed. Then inside the prompt, I'll put in a gold crown. Alright, so the image finished generating and it didn't work as I expected. Depending on the context of the image, Midjourney can struggle to generate specific objects and items in them. We'll have to experiment with the prompt some more. This time, I'll put in the dolphin has a gold crown on its head to give Midjourney more clear directions with what I want. Looking at the results, we were able to get a few images that generated our prompt correctly. Sometimes it'll take you a few tries and changes to the prompt to get exactly what you want from Midjourney, so don't get discouraged if it doesn't work the first time. Work on your prompts a bit to make the instructions as clear and obvious for Midjourney as possible. So we've seen how to adjust the interior of our images, but what about the outside region? We can add more to the borders by using the image outpainting feature. The pan features, which are these arrows underneath the image, let you extend the image in the direction the arrow is pointing towards. So if we use the arrow pointing to the right, then Midjourney extends the image towards the right side, and we can see more of the woman's torso. And if we use a downwards pointing arrow, Midjourney extends the image downwards. And we'll get some interesting results. It looks like she's wearing a dress in the water. You can continue to use a pan feature to extend your image in different directions as many times as you like. It's a really cool tool that lets you add extra size to your images whenever you need. Next up, we can use the zoom buttons to zoom out in all different directions. The 2x zoom button and 1.5 zoom button pull the camera back and expands the outside borders of the image and fills them in using AI. One trending topic was the infinite zoom videos that were made using Midjourney, where people added together images generated from the zoom feature to get this infinitely zooming effect. I'll put a link in the description for a tutorial on how to make these types of videos. Here's a pro tip. Sometimes Midjourney produces images like this one, where there's black borders around the image. It can get pretty annoying when you get an otherwise perfect image, but it has these black bars outside. One way to get rid of them is to use a custom zoom feature. If we open it up, you'll see the prompt with an option to change the zoom factor. Just change that to something small like 1.1. Then when you generate the zoomed out images, most of the time the black bars will get removed and you end up with a nice clean image. Also, the custom zoom feature is a really convenient way to change the aspect ratio of the image while preserving all of the information. If we look inside the prompt box, we can change the zoom factor, but also the aspect ratio. Let's try making this a wide 3:2 image, and I'll change the zoom factor to 1.1. This is my favorite way to change the aspect ratio of an image I already like without using the pan features. The make square feature automatically fills the border of any rectangular image to turn it into a square. I don't use this feature that much personally, but it's there if you need it. So we've covered a lot of features for variations, inpainting, and outpainting. However, we can take our Midjourney skills to the next level by using remix mode. Go to the settings menu by typing /settings to turn on remix mode. Just select the remix mode button. Remember the reroll button which runs our prompt again? Now that we have remix mode turned on, when we go to regenerate our images, a new prompt box will pop up. This allows us to make any adjustments to our prompt without having to type it in again. But as your prompts get longer and you have more and more parameters, this helps a lot. For this case, let's try changing the camera angle from a low angle shot to a high angle shot from above. And now we can see our dolphin from a different perspective. With remix mode turned on, we can do much more with Midjourney's features. When you go to pan in your image, a custom prompt box will open up and you can change up the prompt, like adding in a blue lake. Then when the pan feature goes to extend the image, it'll actually take into account the new prompt that you've entered. This also works for variations buttons. I really like the image of a floating dolphin, but I'd like to add in some green trees and water below to make it feel more lively. If we use very subtle, inside the new remix prompt box that pops up, we can try adding in some greenery with vegetation and water flowing. This should preserve the overall structure of the image with the dolphin and city below, but sprinkles in some new details. And there we go, we've managed to preserve the structure of the original image while adding in trees and water. The very strong button also allows for this, but it does make more dramatic changes to the original image. If we try to do the exact same thing and adding palm trees and water to our new prompt, our dolphins will be a bit more diverse this time. Also, remember that the custom zoom button also allows you to customize a prompt. So in this case, let's try adding in some aquatic plants and water lilies around this girl and the dolphin. The custom zoom button can do this even without remix mode turned on, so make sure to take advantage of that. For me, I always have remix mode turned on because of the extra control it gives me over the images that I generate. Also, if you're remixing and panning your images, it can be kind of hard to keep track of where the original image is in the entire Discord feed. So instead of scrolling around, just click on this headline above the newly generated images, which will bring you back to the original image. To upload reference images, you just need to drag and drop them into Midjourney. Here I've got a photo of a woman. I'll drag her into Midjourney and press enter to upload it. Now I can right click on it to bring up a menu, and inside, go to copy image link. This will allow us to use the image as a reference to generate new images. Then when I go to enter prompt like photo of a woman on a camping trip in Alaska with winter clothing, I can paste in the reference image link at the end. Then when I generate the image, it should reference the person in my original image. And the photos that are generated will look very similar to the original person. You can change how important the reference image is by using the image weight parameter. Just add --IW at the end of your prompt followed by a number between 0 to 2, where a higher number means you want the image to be weighted more heavily. So back to our prompt of a woman camping in Alaska. This time if we add --IW at the end of the prompt, followed by the number 2, if we look at the new images generated, they look much more similar to the original image than before. In terms of the clothing that she's wearing, which all looks like a white collared shirt, and also the direction that she's facing. Consistent characters are really tricky to do. They're rarely ever perfect. If you want my step-by-step video guide for how to get consistent characters with different facial expressions, I'll also add that in the description. There's a lot of different ways to use reference images. Here I've uploaded an image of pink and blue paint mixed together. Let's see if we can apply this texture onto an object like a vase. So we'll prompt for a porcelain vase with the texture of pink and blue paint against a plain white background. Then just copy the image link into the prompt, and it should apply the pink and blue texture onto the vase. And there we go, it looks like the texture from the reference image is mapped onto the vase. Recently, Midjourney released a consistent style feature, which lets you take a style from a reference image and map it onto an AI-generated image. I've uploaded a couple of images I really liked here. So let's take this ground level shot of an asphalt path in Arizona and see if we can generate a similar style of image in a different location. I'll right click and copy the image link. Then to use this image style onto another image, I just need to enter a prompt, then add --sref at the end of it, followed by the image URL, which tells Midjourney to use the style of my reference image. I'll ask for a ground level shot of a dirt path on a mountain trail with some ferns and small animals on it. Here's what it would look like in the Discord prompt box. At the end of the prompt, adding --sref with the copied image URL. I tried applying this to a couple of different images and it works pretty well. Here's another example of a reference image I had for a watercolor style children's book drawing. I applied the style to generate some images of seahorses. You can definitely feel the influence from the original image, from the shape of the seahorse to the saturation of the colors in the image. You can turn up how much to weigh the reference style by using the --SW parameter. This holds a value between 0 to 1000, with 100 being the default. If we turn the style weight all the way up to 1000 when generating our seahorses, you'll notice that the tail of the seahorse follows the shape of the original image a bit closer. There's a couple more options in the settings menu to control the generation speed. Turbo will generate images the fastest, but takes up the most GPU time, which is a limited resource depending on your subscription. For me, I usually just leave it on fast mode, which is a default. It's plenty fast enough for me. Then you have relax mode, which is available to standard plan users and higher. It's a lot slower, but it doesn't cost you any GPU time, so you theoretically can generate unlimited images. In the settings menu, there's also a sticky style button, which is meant to be used with the style tuner feature. I'm not going to cover that feature since the consistent style feature has been released. It does something very similar, and it also costs way less GPU time and is much easier to use in my opinion. Let's take a closer look at the Midjourney website and what you can do with it. The features are still being developed right now, but it's really useful for sorting through your images. On the Explore page, you can check out what other people are generating. And there's also a Liked tab where you can keep track of images you like. The most useful part though is being able to keep track of your work and filter your images. The My Images tab holds every image that you've ever generated. On the right, you can actually filter through your images. So, for example, I could ask for images generated using only version 6, or images that only have wide landscape aspect ratios. Inside the Search Prompts tab, you can look up specific keywords and prompts. So if I type in horse, it'll bring up every image I've generated with the keyword horse. Then if I select one of them, I can choose from a list of possible options like copying the image link or downloading it or opening it up in Discord. There's future plans right now to have this website do everything that Discord can do, but right now that hasn't been released to all the users yet. I'll make an updated guide when that's available for everybody. That's it. That's everything you need to know to get started with Midjourney. Go and check out this advanced prompt guide I made that has a lot of different prompt tips like colors, lighting, style, and a lot more. And make sure to subscribe if you want to see more from me.